is a blessed condition, believe me, to be whispered about at street corners, to live in other people's dreams, but not to have to be.
Next up, we have Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh from 1995. It's probably one of my favorite movies overall. The second film is very confrontational. Candyman 2, 1995 works like a parable. It's a warning that builds tension. And most importantly, like horror always does, it's holding up a mirror. That's what makes it a great film. But there are so many other things you can learn just by watching it. So I'm going to take you through some of those ideas right now. One of the reasons I treasure this film so much is because it really captured the Black American nightmare without exploiting it. The story of Candyman is not an urban legend, but I appreciate the way the film captured that feeling. When you are Black in America, you do feel like your existence is someone else's plot device. Actually presented at the Whole Damn Swarm 30th anniversary conference for Candyman. Did a whole project connected to a piece of Horror Advocate. For those of you who don't fully understand what the Horror Advocate is, I'd like to just explain a piece of it so you can understand how I applied some of that work to my analysis of Candyman 2. Horror Advocate is a parent company, if you will, parent organization. It holds everything. Rec Zombie, Apt Horror, and Pop Cult Survivalist are programs under the Horror Advocate. Apt Horror is my innovative approach to community data gathering and analysis. It sees theories transformed into meaningful conclusions, and to do so, I use pop culture data points as they're more accessible to people. So one of the major ideas that I believe is being, worked out in Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, is racial hoaxing. Racial hoaxing just seems like a fabricated phenomenon, except it happens all the time. It happens all the time. And so I also wanted to provide you with a list. It's a short list of cases I studied and researched. Fannie Taylor, 1923. Carolyn Bryant Dom, 1955. Elizabeth Diane Downs, 1983. Charles Stewart, 1989. Gregory Counts and Van Dyke Ferry, 1991. Jesse Anderson, 1992. Susan Smith, 1994. Sherry Hall, 2016. Finally, Patricia Ripley, 2020. I actually think the problem is us. The problem is culture. It's not exactly the criminal or the wrongdoer, because people do these things because they know no one's going to say anything. They know what culture will accept. They know what our foundations are, and they know what people are willing to deal with and own. And it's that simple. Candyman takes this moment to create a remarkable shift in how we see Black men's suffering. The film complicates accountability and suggests that benefiting from bloodshed is the same as holding the knife, hoisting the rope, and severing the limb. That was an excerpt from my presentation about Candyman, but it's still a minefield, and the Black body is still a pawn in a lot of people's games. And it fires you up a little bit, and it also is validating for the viewer. His hauntings are a cautionary tale. They're a corrective experience, a life for a life, as you would say. That vulnerability challenges our manufactured reality where Black men are perpetrators, but never the prey.